alright. I'm doing this, I'm suing the SEC. Okay, really doing this, I'm suing the SEC. Okay, really doing this, I'm suing the SEC. Okay.
G'day everybody and welcome to the happy hour. G'day there to 43 OG and True Blue.
How are we, mate?
How are you guys going?
True Blue, what's going on?
Pretty good. Oh, representing the Aussie colours for the Olympics, True Blue.
That's it. Why not?
Nice.
Yeah, no,
nice
loving
work.
it. Getting into it despite all the crap that's going on with all the men playing against women and stuff. We're still enjoying
that poor Italian woman.
Yes, that was just sad, really.
Getting their nose broken anyway. by the I think it's intersex athlete.
Something like that. That's what they call them. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it just looked like a man beating up a woman. I thought it was terrible, but I don't think you should be
allowed to like do that in competition if you've got a cock and balls and you're getting like testosterone. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. If you've got the old twig and berries, that's not cool. But yeah, I mean, testosterone count one thing, like elevated high testosterone or whatever. But wasn't it like XY chromosome? I was like, hang on, that's a man. Like that's like the the Austin Powers thing when he's like pulling the wig off. It's a man, baby. So I don't know. XY, isn't that like pretty much the definition? I don't know how that slipped through to the keeper. But anyway,
it's not. I guess it's just a matter of isn't it a matter of like women's rights or something? Like women should be allowed to like compete against other women in sports without getting the shit beaten out of them.
Yeah, that's like safety,
women's rights and safety thing. Yeah,
I'd be sort of I'd be worried for sure. That's No, anyway, let's not go into it too much. There's been some crazy stuff being going on, man. Like all sorts of like.
We were about to embark. I'm just going to jump in. We were about to embark on a conversation before the stream started about how loose Trump is. Trump is loose. Why is Trump loose? He's loosey goosey. Tell me what did he say?
He said some crazy stuff, man. I mean, he always says crazy stuff, and sometimes he just rambles, and then he like talks about how the thing that he just said, but in like the third person. But it was pretty good. I listened to most of the Bitcoin conference, like speakers and things like that. But the Trump stuff was hilarious. But no, it was this one here. I'll just play it. Some of it, obviously, I don't agree with everything Trump says. All right, so don't like come at me, bras. But yeah, some of the stuff he said I thought was pretty funny.
The moment I'm
Can you hear that?
in, the persecution stops
Can you hear that?
and the weaponization ends against your industry. And as long as I'm in the Oval Office, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, do you remember?
Elizabeth Warren.
Yes, I'm an Indian. Yes, she said, I'm an Indian. Why are you an Indian? You don't look like an Indian. No, my mother told me I have high cheekbones. Oh, that's why she was an Indian. So I named her Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren and her goons, and she's very nasty to you. She hates your people. She hates everything about you. Will keep their hands off Bitcoin. They're going to keep their hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
I love this. He was shocked.
Yeah, look at him.
He's like, whoa. You guys really hate Gary Gensler.
I didn't know he was that unpopular. Wow. I didn't know he was that unpopular.
This is why he's a showman.
Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler.
He's a showman. That's WWE training right there.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
That's the Warriors
If you
line.
smell what the Trump
Yeah.
is cooking.
I just go crazy for it.
Yeah. Definitely knows how to run a crowd.
That was so hilarious, man.
So when he
apart
came
from
out and said, like when he's talking about Pocahontas and he's talking about
that's just some
whatever,
casual
he
racism.
also said something about Kamala Harris, that she's not black, she's Indian. And do you know what the thing is?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, the thing is that I think what he does is very calculated, because the people that will be offended by what he said, or will find a problem with what he said, or find issue, will never, ever, 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 ever vote for him.
So yeah, good point. Interesting. Yeah.
Offending or pissing off people who will never, ever, ever vote for him. So I think what he says and what he does is very calculated, and at the same time, he's sort of he's making that he is saying that, like, oh, there is difference between being like Indian, like brown Indian, and being like an African American, Black American. Like he's like drawing a line there for people to see, like, quite obviously. And who knows what that does for the voter base in the US, like the Black American voter base in the US. Like, does that?
See, like, I actually don't care. Like, she might have some African American, she might have some Indian. It doesn't even matter. It's about her policies, right? Like, who cares what race she is? You know, it's not really a factor. We're voting based on, hopefully people are voting based on
I think that he's pointing it out. I agree with you. I think that he's pointing it out because she is making it an issue or not an issue, but she's coming out and saying that, So
he's just loose, man. He just says some loose shit as well. And sometimes he's just straight off the top of the dome. He just says it. And then you're like, wait, did he just call Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas? And I was like, oh, okay. Anyway. And then, but that was just casual racism, maybe. But do you know what the backstory behind that?
Well,
just the Pocahontas thing, because that's
because she said she was native. She was a Native American, right?
Yeah, sure.
And
but
then,
I just mean like,
and then I think there was something like that. She just made it up. It wasn't like legit. She just like fucking made it up. Wow. And that was a thing.
So she's not
like
even
thing.
Indian. I don't know.
No, she's not. That's the whole point. She's not even like Native American.
Oh, okay.
No. Dude, it's hilarious. It's hilarious what goes on in politics. Like, that Joe Biden, like, there was a comedy club in the US that used to have Joe Biden night. And what they used to do on Joe Biden night is they used to do each other's routines. Like, one comedian would do the routine of a different comedian. And they used to call it Joe Biden night because Joe Biden was like known for just plagiarizing whole chunks of speeches of
Kennedy speeches or something. They all do that, man. Even Australian politicians have been caught out just ripping off.
Even Trump's done that.
Kennedy speeches. Yeah, they do it because they get speech writers to do it, and the speech writers just think, no one's going to know.
Trump did it for, like, have you heard of the movie Legally Blonde?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Trump did it for like a portion of the speech that I don't know. She's like graduation speech or some shit. Right. He like, there's a portion of his speech that he did it like, and it's just straight out of that movie. It's hilarious, man. Crazy. This shit's hilarious. They speak so much. Yeah, they speak so much that they've got to say something. And these, like you said, the speech writers, they've got to put something on the page, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, it was just. When I was listening to it with the headphones or earphones, it was like, I really noticed how loud that crowd was when he said that they were going to fire Gary Gensler on day dot. It was just like,
it was bedlam.
They went absolutely.
Dig it.
Definitely.
And you could tell he was like, oh, okay.
By the way, Trump almost got shot in the head 3 weeks ago, and no one gives a shit anymore. No one cares, man. It's like,
I know.
We got some other shit. Dude, the guy missed death by like a centimeter.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
By a centimeter, and no one gives a shit anymore.
Bro, I used to watch like Kennedy assassination documentaries when I was a kid and read encyclopedias. That's how old I am about it. And, you know, it used to be like a huge historical thing. You know, it was like a major historical milestone, you know, and it could very well have been as well a few weeks ago. And then it was just like, oh yeah, nah, but it missed or whatever. It's like, well, not really. It hit him. Like that's got to count for something. And then he took it like as well and just was like a hero about it. So, I mean, so anyway, I watched a few of those things. It's pretty crazy, some of the conspiracy stuff, but some of it seems also like, yeah, we talked about this last week. Like it's just incompetence out the wazoo.
The thing that's the best clip for anyone to watch is Tulsi Gabbard, her clip on with Kamala Harris, like at the last thing when they were debating, because Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat at the time, and they were both like going to be they wanted to be president, right? So they were going against each other. And that clip in particular is so good because she just throws all these bad record things in her face on live television.
Oh wow. Okay. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I mean, there were so many things like during the week where it was just sort of clownish things happening, like you're saying with that Olympic, you know, the boxing thing, and but there was a bunch of other like really bizarre sort of almost censorship things that were going on. I'll just bring this one up. But so they were saying that photo from the Trump assassination was being like on Facebook was being flagged, I guess, as being altered. Like they were kind of like gatekeeping that photo. And so there was a couple of other things where I think if you, like Elon was talking about it, where if you just literally like typed in like Trump assassination or assassination of like Trump, you got to like about TRUM, and it still would come up with just like
other
assassinations. Like, I think it was Truman. Yeah, it was Truman. Yeah. The assassination of Truman, and if you did like a search for like Donald Trump or something like that, it basically came. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so you could just do a search for Donald Trump and then just Kamala Harris stuff came up. So it's like, is Google and Meta, you know, Facebook, are they like actively censoring, you know, stuff about Trump and then promoting Kamala Harris? Like that's kind of biased. Like these are meant to be search engines and and then flagging that photo, and it just seems like that's real bias, right? Shouldn't it just be unbiased and then you present the data and let people decide?
Yeah.
Hey, dude,
they'd be doing
I put this
for sure.
Yeah, for sure they're doing that. I just put that clip in there in the private chat of Tulsi Gabbard calling out Kamala Harris's on her record. It's pretty interesting.
Is there like copyright stuff or anything, or is it?
I don't think so. It's on her. It's on her. It's in a debate, and it's on her I doubt it'd be copyright because it's on her. YouTube. So I'm sure she wants it played, man.
Unfortunately, negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were.
Anyway, I don't want to listen to politics all day, but yeah, the whole
you should have played the rest of it.
Was they saying, oh, I should have played it?
Yeah, there's only like a minute and a half left.
Oh, is it? All right.
Were about re-entering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response.
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Senator Harris.
My entire career, I have been personally opposed to the death penalty, and that has never changed. And I dare anybody who is in a position to make that decision, to face the people I have faced, to say, I will not seek the death penalty. That is my background. That is my work. I am proud of it. I think you can judge people by when they are under fire, and it's not about some fancy opinion on a stage, but when they're in the position to actually make a decision, what do they do? When I was in the position of having to decide whether or not to seek a death penalty on cases I prosecuted, I made a very difficult decision that was not popular to not seek the death penalty. History shows that, and I am proud of those decisions.
Look, I thought she handled herself pretty well, actually. That was back in 2020.
Back in 2020.
She handled herself pretty well there. I mean, may not agree with her policies and stuff, but she seemed to handle herself quite well there, I thought.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't really vote. I'm not an American, so I don't vote for that stuff. So I'm sort of a bit ambivalent. Yeah.
However, it does affect us. It does affect the direction of the US affects us being a close ally.
Yeah. No, it definitely does in terms of whether they withdraw troops from. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't talk about some of these things, but unless I've looked into them a bit more, but the Ukraine war and the Israeli war, that sort of almost proxy wars that are going on. I know that the Australian government has at least been supplying weapons to, so we're part of that war, whether we've got troops there or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm sort of just anti-war. So I just don't really think we should be really fighting wars like abroad. And I mean, it's different if it's like, you're defending your country sort of thing. But yeah, I'm just, I guess, a bit anti-war. I guess it seems weird to say like that's a fringe sort of policy. I think
most people agree with that. I think most people. You ask the average person in the street, should we be fighting wars or should we be supporting wars that have very little to do with us? And I think most people would be in agreement with what you just said.
But look, it is crazy. I've heard a lot of people who are pro-Democrats and stuff, and they seem to be saying the same lines. Like there was a video, I think, during the week where they had juxtaposed all of these commentators, I think, in the US, and they had all been saying the phrase that Trump was weird, and they'd put it back to back, and it was like they all just kind of said, "Oh, isn't Trump's really weird?" And Trump's weird. And it was like they'd inserted that keyword.
Is that the best they've
obviously
got?
Into that news cycle? So everyone started saying it, but you could tell it was just artificial that they were pushing that narrative.
And is it really the best they've got? Is that how they're going to attack him? He's weird.
It's weird. Yeah. So what? Okay, weird.
Weird is often like good in some ways. Most people that have done good things you could look at as weird. Look at Elon Musk, or he's a little bit weird, but look what he's doing.
It's a
the
good
things
point.
he's producing, and
Good point, True, because I mean, what's the alternative? Is you have a sterile kind of society where everyone is the same and there's no, you know, no character, no sort of larrikins or anything like that. Like that's probably what they want. But like the Aussie larrikin, I think is definitely like a thing that's starting to maybe diminish over time, because you've got to be careful what you say, and everyone's just second guessing, you know, your pronouns or whatever. It's a bit hard. So yeah. Anyway.
And look, people can be dark, man. Humans can get dark. If you look at what has gone on in the last 100 years in the world, you know, I'm actually at the moment I'm listening to a book called The Gulag Archipelago.
Oh, Jesus.
By Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I can't even pronounce his name. Solzhenitsyn. And he was this
Russian
guy who was locked up in the Gulag for like, I think 10 or 20 years. I'm not that far into it, but he describes like the stuff that went on there. And it's very comparable to the sort of stuff that you hear about what went on in Germany around that Second World War time. It's very comparable as far as like the torture and the sorts of things that went on.
That's hectic, man.
And it's mind-boggling how humans can be so dark. And what's interesting, like I'm only like a quarter of the way into it, but it's interesting how he goes on to say, like in that early part of it, that I'm listening to the abridged version because it's very, very long.
Sure.
He says, look, there were these people called the Blue Caps, and they're the ones who like were, you know, carrying out the orders, and they had the power. You know, they were like the police, the type of people, and they had the power. And he asked himself, like, if I had been, I guess, lucky to be chosen as one of those people, would I have carried those things? Would I have carried
out those things? Yeah.
But the things that he describes is just, it's hectic, man. He describes how people to get confessions, they would push them to get confessions. And, you know, they'll do things like they'd put them in rooms and just, or in like oven type situations and turn up the heat till they started to like blood would come out of their skin, and then they'd take them to get a confession. Or they would like, you know, just things that you cannot even fathom. Like it's so, I can't believe what I'm listening to.
Look,
and this was only 100 years ago. Have we evolved? Have we evolved since then? Have people evolved? I mean, I guess from all the people who died, they didn't get to evolve. They didn't get to, you know, the next generation. So I guess that's selecting for cowardice and you know, sort of disgraceful sort of behavior.
Look, I kind of think of it in terms of like, this is the human condition where everyone has this tribalistic sort of evolutionary trait. I guess it would have been evolutionary advantageous to form tribes in times of like scarcity and things like that, and maybe for security. So, and then that just on large scales
gets out of control.
You just see that countries just going to war, borders that are in perpetual war, like in Pakistan and India or like that Kashmir region, like in the Middle East. You know, you're seeing the Israel-Palestine sort of conflicts. There's lots of like perpetual wars that are just going indefinitely, which is really sad. And it's really interesting. There's an effect that astronauts sometimes get. I think they call it it's like the overview effect, when you sort of go into space and you're looking at, you know, the continents without the borders that you see in maps, and they sort of think, hang on, this is stupid. Like, why is everyone fighting over these arbitrary lines? We're just sort of saying this country is my country, and then this country. It's fairly arbitrary. when you look at it when you zoom out a little bit. And unfortunately, people don't tend to zoom out and kind of go, oh, there's hundreds of billions of stars in our galaxy, and there's hundreds of billions of galaxies, and that all of these star systems could have planets. But I'm really, really concerned what's happening right here at this tiny little stretch of land that was, you know, that my father is his father. It's like, yeah, okay, that's like 3 generations. That's like, I know that's a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's nothing. And probably people on both sides of these fences all have similar things in, like they care about their families. They all blame the other person for some sort of atrocity. It's kind of sad. And you get these arbitrary boundaries, I think was the point I was trying to make. Like,
yeah, no, it's
you have tribes on one side or
right.
the other.
But just sort of adjacent to that point, I wanted to make the point that you know, you had the communists in Russia, and then you had the fascists in Germany, and the different ends of the spectrum,
different ideologies.
But they were perpetrating the same sort of atrocities on their fellow humans, you know, and it's
look, I mean,
it's how dark, it's just how dark humans can be. So you're going to take pause and realize how, like, you know, how, I guess, good we have it, but also be mindful of how dark things can get when you have, you know, maybe a managerial class of people that want to tell the regular person exactly how to live their lives, and they've got to live it like this, and you have to do it this way, you know. And that is something that I do see a lot of around the place. And like, I don't know, did you guys see that clip of the person who went into an office works and wanted to get a page of newspaper laminated? It was a Jewish fellow, and there was a page like an Israeli sort of, I don't know what was in it, but obviously it was pro-Israel. And the lady at office works was pro-Palestine, and she had she had the rainbow lanyard on, and she said, I'm not going to do that for you because it goes against my beliefs. So I'm allowed to refuse.
Oh wow, come on.
It was just interesting.
That's
so you know, and I see that
censoring.
I see these things as like stuff. You know,
that's not her position, is to choose what gets printed. Yeah,
people can get like extreme, you know. And
so this is what I was saying. There's this inherent tribalism in humans, and I think it's so pervasive in our society. We see it in crypto, right? Where you have Bitcoiners saying that every other coin is a scam, you know, because their tribe of Bitcoin is the only thing that matters, you know, because they're so deluded. And then you go to some other community and you get these almost fundamentalists, which are just within their community, that think that Cardano is the only, you know, the best crypto or whatever. And I'm sure we've got the same thing in XRP, and everyone in their own little bubble, they form these tribes, I think, because they perceive some sort of, well, I guess because you're in a volatile market, you think you're going to lose, you know, your money. So there's like there's perceived safety in a tribe. So that they think that if they're forming this tribe of these people, or they're all in the same mindset, it reinforces that the decisions that you've made as well. So that's really interesting. But then, it can go too far, right? Like when people just start, you know, they're starting wars over different ideologies, which have fairly insignificant and arbitrary differences. That's the thing that gets me.
There are some real differences in the ideologies of how to go about living your life. There are some real differences out there.
They can be. Yes, sure. They can be extreme.
There's a lot of ideologies that do not like the way we live our life every day. Like there's, you know, let's be honest. They don't like the way
I'm not meant to be drinking scotch.
No, but there's a lot of and you know, we won't go into it because I don't think it's in the vein of like what this.
We should probably start talking about crypto.
This is about. Yeah. But we know that there's plenty out there that don't like the fact that, you know, the ladies can do certain things, you know, have certain freedoms, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That like, Yeah, so,
crazy to us, but not crazy to
yeah,
them,
I
right?
suppose
And that's the point.
societal
It's like
sort of
different
cultural
ideology.
differences. Yeah,
Culture,
I mean,
that's a
if you're
religious
someone else's,
thing as well.
yeah, if you're in someone else's country, then maybe you have to be aware of those cultural differences. But yeah, I mean, we've come a long way, but in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, women weren't allowed in bars, they weren't allowed to vote, and we've had a lot of like pretty terrible laws and things, and discriminated against women since the dawn of time, really only until for the last sort of 100 years or so, probably not even, that they've actually had equal rights, and probably only really like since what, the 60s and stuff. So anyway, that's pretty hectic, man, and it gets worse the further you go down. But yeah, maybe that's a conversation for another day. Humans' capacity for cruelty and intolerance. How you been, True Blue? What's been going on, mate?
Yeah, no, going good. Just sitting by and watching everything unfold. I was sort of getting into that Trump stream, or when he spoke at the conference, and yeah, took a few things from that. Mainly the fact that he really wants to, push to be one of the first to really properly adopt crypto and push it. So I thought that was really good, talking about powering up, the power stations, and, not that you need that for maybe PulseChain or whatever.
Yeah. There's going to be so much energy. Yeah, you're going to say it's too much energy. That's so funny.
It. But, just mentioning to stay ahead of, China and other places, because if someone else really takes it on and runs with it, we'll get left behind. So I like that idea. I like that he was, preaching that, and that means, like we said, that reflects on Australia then as well, and we usually follow after them. So it was a bullish thing, that's for sure. But just a lot of like buzzwords, where it was like really he knew how to, carry the crowd. So it's like, how much of it is totally legit, and how much was it just to get the votes?
Yeah, you can't really trust a word that a politician says. So I'm sure half the stuff that these guys say in going into an election, it may not actually come about. Gesundheit. So that's Klaus in the background. Look, it's pretty hectic that he was so bullish. That's quite surreal almost to see like the president of that scale talk about crypto, where it's normally been shunned and they're sort of trying to fight it, and that he recognized that there was some votes in it. So that was pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, and going on the fact, that he's sort of changed his wording now to, rather than just saying Bitcoin, he's talking about crypto in general. So that's a good thing as well, because that gets rid of that tribalism there, where all the Bitcoiners can say, oh, Trump, only believes in Bitcoin. He was really talking about crypto as a whole. So pretty bullish.
Look, I think the sentiment is changing for sure. I mean, just recently I saw this article. They were talking about California DMV puts 42 million car titles on Avalanche network.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap. People are using blockchains to actually do things rather than just speculate on the price of meme coins.
We need more of that.
That's awesome. Sure. So I was like, full credit to them. I don't think the Avalanche price moved one iota after that call, but I was like, that's still pretty cool that it's becoming more mainstream.
Definitely. I think
I just wanted to, go ahead.
The less we see, the price move on every announcement might be a good thing in the long term. It's too much speculation, like you said, and if it starts getting real world use, I guess we can't always expect the price to just run up madly because of, a certain announcement or whatever. So probably a good thing it's not, not reacting just over every word that gets put out in an article. Yeah,
I mean, that whole US strategic reserve thing that they were going to introduce, I mean, that was pretty crazy.
That's great.
So I think they were talking about this Bitcoin reserve that was going to be funded by revaluing the gold in the the Federal Reserve's gold. So they would just revalue it, and then they would be buying. But they were talking about a Bitcoin purchase program. They would buy up to 200,000 Bitcoin a year over a 5-year period. So
pretty good.
Like, that's pretty crazy, like, for them to be talking in these sorts of ways. But yeah, in terms of like what's been happening in the RH ecosystem, and I've been really watching PulseX lately. So we talked about the ratio, the PulseX to Pulse ratio has been killing it and making like new all-time highs and things like that. And Hexologist, shout out to Hexologist, you know, obvious legend, OG, and his streams are hilarious. He's just an all-round champion.
He won't get it out of bed to come on with us though. Just putting it out there. Hexo, come on. I've asked him a couple of times. But
have you? I've never even asked him. I just assumed like he's got stuff to do, man. He's got a family and everything.
That's all good. It's late.
That actually brings me to a point as well. I should have said hello to the chat because I saw at the start that Fast Abdul was saying that we were crazy because we were doing the 1 a.m. streams again. It's so funny that he thinks, you know, obviously he doesn't think that it's always, you know, streaming at 1 a.m. But it's just classic that he's sticking to he's got the commitment to the bit.
Yeah. What's up, Matty Allen?
Yeah.
And also shout out to Fast Abdul for last week, because I thought that was really cool. He's actually a really nice guy and it's got some really cool things to say. But I was just going to say, Hexologist mentioned that we're getting close to 1 trillion PulseX being burnt. So 933 billion. So that's from the buy and burn. That's a lot. 1 trillion.
That is a
PulseX
lot.
Getting burnt. So I'm pretty sure the supply is only like 20 trillion, right? I'd have to look it up on GoPulse.
5% of that sort of supply is a huge amount, or 4.6.
Yeah, 5%. That's 5%. I mean, burnt forever. Like, how many years is it going to take?
Exactly.
For this to, you know, your brain just starts thinking in that scarcity mindset where it's like, okay, so we're going to have more volume over time. So in over a few years, just how much PulseX is going to get burnt?
That's right. Well, that's why that K for K was, you know, going so hard on it, you know, before PulseChain launched. Because when you really look at it and you put the math into it, it's pretty mind-blowing, really.
Yeah, it is dependent on the volume, of course. So, I mean, but also there was that bug at the start that it was burning too much.
Exactly.
So that's possibly why. So people haven't really maybe factored that in. But yeah, we can look at the charts later, but definitely the PulseX to Pulse ratio. Oh, I might as well bring it up now.
You were going to say hi to the chat. Should do that.
Should have another scotch. Let me quickly say hello because there's probably quite a few here. So g'day Crypto Class, Ash, g'day, Red Squirrel, oi. Day off work. He's not even driving to work, but he still logs in. We appreciate that. Base Radiant, AO. If you want to come on, Base Radiant, just let us know, mate. I'll flick you the link.
Definitely.
And if anyone else really wants to come on, they're most welcome. Just hit me up in the Twitter DMs. Here we go. So the Boxing Association banned him, but let's ignore it. Yeah, I think that's what happened, isn't it? So that boxer was actually banned, but then still fought in the Olympics. That's crazy, man. Guzzler is out if Trumpster gets in. Big time. We've got a couple of Trumpsters here. KD, what's up? Ash is having a laugh. That's good. You got to have a laugh. Clintrons, happy hour, folks. The reason it's pertinent, she is flip-flopped on what here race was trying to appeal to different demographics, even changing her accent. Yeah, so I think that's true. It's that flip-flop thing. But to be fair, Richard Hart does that as well. He does that hard. He's like chatting to someone, "How you going, man?" And then like African American comes up and he's like, "What's up, dog?" And you're like, "Did you just change your entire accent?" But then apparently he went to a school with lots of African Americans, so then that's okay, whatever. I don't really care. I'm very g'day McNuggets. I'm very hard to offend. So people say stuff and it just kind of washes over me. Like I'm like, oh yeah, fair enough. Even if I was offended, I'd be like, oh well. But a lot of people do get easily offended in this day and age. So
that sort of thing is also, part of like the art of sales and stuff like that. Like when you're talking to someone, you find ways to relate to them. And if that means changing a language a little bit, or, if they start cursing and that, you drop a few, as opposed to other people that are all straight and whatever, you just talk, dead straight to them. So yeah.
And look, people mimic body language. They do that sort of subconsciously if you're standing next to someone and then they start crossing their crossing their arms like this or whatever. Yeah. Then all of a sudden everyone else starts doing it. And then you realize that everyone is kind of doing it. And then you're like, why am I doing this? And then you put your back. Yeah. It's just, you can't help it because everyone else is doing it. So yeah, that's interesting. Spread the Love says, if you were around for the Hex launch, it's time to DCA into PulseChain. Yeah, man. I mean, crazy low prices. I might just quickly pull up this PulseX. Actually, I can pull up both. So we're almost testing. So this is on the daily. This is the pulse. We unfortunately did go below the 20-day moving average just here, just closed below it, just there, which was bad news, like for in the short term. And it certainly has gone down since then. So I'd really like to see it get back above that. I'm just concerned that we don't make a lower low. So I think it was around about the 403.38. That was the local daily close, like low.
Because there's only one more support below that, isn't there, earlier on?
Yeah, that was pretty much the SEC. Oh, there might be a couple more, like even slightly lower closes. And this is just on the daily, so that one might actually be a weekly close, this very low one. But it's just in terms of making lower lows. Like I don't mind having a bit of structure and seeing it go into a mini downtrend, but I just want this to make a higher low. So we'll see. If it does make a lower low, then that's bad. So we'll keep an eye on that. But definitely in this zone, like if you just boxed out this kind of zone from between these two lines, I mean, this is all basically peak SEC FUD sort of zone. We broke out of it. We were above it, and then people couldn't handle it and had to sell it down. So then now,
what do you guys think is going to happen in October? Like, what are your thoughts? So there's this hearing in October for this this SEC case with Richard Hart and PulseX and Pulse and PulseX and Hex, alter egos and all that sort of all that stuff. So do you think like it could get thrown out on jurisdictional grounds, right?
Yeah, I doubt that. To be honest.
Okay, anyway. So it could get thrown out on jurisdictional grounds, or it could go ahead. What do you think the market's reaction would be to those things? Well, just what do you think the market will do in those situations?
I could have a stab at it, but it'd just be a complete guess, right? Because it might not play this out this way. But the October hearing, I think the judge makes like a call like a month or something after that. Like I don't think it's like in the movies where they do there's like a hearing and then it's just case dismissed. I think it's so glacial the way that these trial things go. It might even be like a month later that they make a judgment, and then assuming maybe it gets dismissed, but I'd say very rarely do things like this just magically go our way.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's
out of if it's determined that Richard Hart is not can't be tried in that jurisdiction, then it could possibly.
So it's a strong case. It's a strong argument.
Yeah.
It's a strong argument. I'm not saying it's not a strong argument. I'm just saying that unfortunately, what my experience has been that even if someone is saying something true and they're on the right side of things, when it comes to court cases, it's not about logic and how true something is. It's about, what you can prove in court and what the judge might have a bias, or the jury, or whatever. So yeah, I guess my gut feeling is that may not win that, but it doesn't mean much, because that's not the actual case, right? That's just the jurisdictional thing.
That's just whether it goes ahead or not. Just whether
the case goes ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it does go ahead, will that be seen in a negative light by the market, do you think? Or do you think that will just be
I don't think it actually really matters. I don't think it matters a lot, because my gut feeling is there's a lot of people in the PulseChain community that care, but we've probably got relatively small bags in comparison to the actual people who are moving the market. So the people who are moving the markets, they might do something different. So this is where I was going to speculate that what they might do is actually pump. So people might think, oh, to sell the news or whatever. So we'll sell, before the trial. What they tend to do with these sell the news events is they actually pump the price right up about, like, say, a month before the sell the news thing. And everyone just thinks we're going to the moon. And then they'll sell it down, like, so that it'll bleed into that date. And then I guess it'll be 50-50 as to what the market does, like with the news, but it may not be that date. It could be like a month after.
What do you think would happen if it got thrown out? Like, let's forget what you think will happen as far as whether it will get thrown out or not. But if it got thrown out in October, do you think that it pumps from there, or like what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think that's
what do you reckon, True Blue?
I reckon if it gets thrown out, we'll be streaming from our jet skis, Dozza, on that Friday. That's for sure. Get our new jet skis. If it gets thrown out, for sure.
And if it doesn't get thrown out, what do you think how does the market react to that? If it goes ahead, it's not getting thrown out is not necessarily negative. It just means that it's the trial is going ahead as anticipated, right?
Yeah, I reckon we're just going to keep going like we are in that sort of range, just sideways and, a little bit up and down, and just stick there for now. But I think the US election could have a, real difference to the whole crypto market, which could drag us up a bit no matter what happens. And I think that's early November or something. So if the case gets pushed over, and then we get but the US election goes, and then something like Gensler gets thrown out, it could be happy days anyway, because there could be a lot of crypto regulations that change pretty quickly. This might not get thrown out, but it could help change, what the judge or the, whoever's looking at this, their decision. It could make it easier. So I reckon we're sitting pretty stale for a little while. That's all.
Do you guys remember last cycle in the Hex cycle? Hex was paired with Ethereum.
Yes.
And then in liquidity. And then a lot of that liquidity was removed, and it was paired with USDC.
Yeah.
Remember that? It was like a very, there was a change. There was a shift. And it was noticed. The community noticed that shift, right? And I just wonder, is it possible that we could have a similar shift, but rather it being like with Hex, more just like with an isolation of PulseChain, not being as tethered to Ethereum? Like, because right now, I guess we feel like we're somewhat tethered to Ethereum, not only because of like the liquidity, but also because of the sacrifice. Yeah, having 170,000.
Yeah,
I reckon that will be encouraged once Ethereum's already had its run. So like Richard's posted about, suggesting that liquidity gets removed between Bitcoin and Ethereum, so Ethereum doesn't keep going down or isn't held back as much by Bitcoin. But I think it would, the market maker or the master chef or whatever you want to call it, would wait until Ethereum's run up before liquidity sort of gets thinned out between Ethereum. What do you think, Dozza?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just that Hart's Law thing, right? So if Ethereum's going to be pumping, we want to be bonded with Ethereum. But when Richard, he used to make quite a few comments that the Ethereum all-time high was, I think, 27 days after the Bitcoin all-time high. And that was after the first top of the double top. And so he was like, this is going to be the Ethereum top. And he pretty much nailed it. So from that point onwards, Ethereum's going down, right? So you want to have it paired with USDC. So in theory, it's not going to get dragged down when Ethereum goes down. So I think, and definitely now RH is sort of pushing that everyone is sort of pulling their liquidity between Bitcoin and Ethereum, because he was sort of saying because of Mt. Gox, if people are going to be selling down Bitcoin, then they don't want the ETH bags to go down. That was, his logic. And then because we're so bonded with Ethereum, he's obviously thinking that Ethereum is going to launch, which it very well may do. I mean, the history, I think, is about 30 days after the Bitcoin ETF went live that it really sort of started to pump. So, maybe that's what we're sort of waiting on is to see Ethereum pump a bit. And then with the liquidity bonding, Pulse will go up. And then also when the SAC wallets, might make however much money from the price appreciation of Ethereum, then that money might find its way back into the PulseChain ecosystem.
Got a question. When did Uniswap V3 position sort of come out? When did that? Because it was V2 at first, right? Which is what we have with PulseX. When did V3 come out? Do you know? At what part of the last run?
I don't know the dates, but I know it was definitely there, like when we were pumping, when Hex was pumping. Right. Yeah.
So, there's
there was a 2-year time frame for the something to do with the software being free for other people to copy.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a really interesting, in terms of when you were able to, when it was no longer licensed and you could just use V3. That was like, but it was definitely being used. I mean, there's an interesting thing with liquidity where when you look at those liquidity charts and you sort of think, oh, hang on, most of the liquidity is in, say, on the sell side. You're thinking, oh, it's like a sell wall, but it also means that you have better order execution for large buyers. So it's a little bit, it's a bit more complicated than what some people think, because they just sort of see that when there's asymmetric liquidity all on the sell side, they're like, oh, that means we're only going to go down. Well, not necessarily, because if you've got thin liquidity on the above the price, then you get a lot of slippage for large whales to buy. So you need to have some. So that I noticed that RH was doing that on the way up with Hex. They would change the liquidity, like with the price, they would move that range so that big players could buy into, without eating too much slippage. But in terms of so the Bitcoin ETF that just happened. So broadly speaking, just in answer to your question as well, 43, November, there's a lot of things going on in November, right? So, we're talking the election, the US election, but also, and then the court case, whatever, hearing in October, and then maybe the result possibly in a little bit after that. But just in terms of the 4-year cycle, you've kind of got this fractal where in previous years you sort of get this 3 years from all-time high to breaking the all-time high. I've talked about this many times. Yeah, so it's like 100 and whatever it is, 154, 156 weeks.
And you can go back. So you can go back another. You can go back another cycle, and it works as well.
100%. So then, if you do the same thing and you sort of go 3 years, so we've had this here for some time. November 11. Remember. Sorry, that's a V for Vendetta joke. But there's 3 years is basically the 11th of November, and then that's also the 4-year cycle thing. So that would be the all-time high would be the 11th of November 2025, but for Bitcoin. So if it was going to break the previous all-time high of 69K, I've talked about this, so I'm not going to go on and on about it, but it broke above it, but it could easily, like I was sort of saying, it broke above it, but not convincingly. It could have just, done something like this or whatever, and then still kind of met that timeline. Yep. So I think that is a really interesting time, November of this year, for where we could see some, like even BTC going up to 80, 90K, and then then the belief will be there, like, okay, let's go, like, and then so it's the 18 month, also it's the 12 months from the halving as well, is the altcoin all-time hop. So that all-time high puts it in, I think, April 20th, 2025. But then, yeah, you can kind of look at like the time from the halving. Yeah, so that's April there. So you have to see the Bitcoin dominance change into altcoins in a relatively short amount of time, really. So pretty much from like Christmas sort of to Easter is when the altcoins should be doing their thing, like historically. And then the other thing that's really interesting is if you look at like ETH BTC in terms of, so this is this channel that we've been sitting in for ages, since the merge, in fact. So Ethereum's been underperforming Bitcoin, and we kept thinking that it was going to bust above it, and then it didn't. And it's really quite sad. And now Vitalik's got a girlfriend. I'm just a little bit disappointed in the whole thing.
What? Yeah. Sorry, I was listening to like TA, and then you're like, and Vitalik's got to go. Like, where's this going?
It's all downhill now.
Yeah,
he needs to keep his eye on the prize.
Is it the same girl from that photo with the sock?
No, different one.
I assume it's a sock.
Don't know, bro. I didn't want to zoom in on that shit, but
you got to zoom in, bro. You got to zoom in.
So where was I going with this? So from the halving, so if you look at the ETH BTC ratio, from the halving, it pretty much started kicking ass. Like Ethereum kind of started kicking ass like not long after. I mean, really, even so, this is like 10 weeks. I mean, I guess you could say its major parabolic run was maybe like when the ratio sort of flipped, when sort of ETH started outperforming BTC like in a major way, was nearly a year after the halving. So that's quite sad to think that this trend could be continuing until almost April next year. But by then, that's like most of the bull run done. So it is pretty hectic when you look at it. I mean, I'm slowly becoming more of a Bitcoiner in terms of like, if you were trying to maximize your dollars over a cycle, it kind of seems like, but definitely in this cycle, that if you had have just cashed out into USDC at the top and then waited like a full year and gone all in BTC and just waited for like 3.5 years, and then you rotate into alts, and that last 6 months, you would have been better off. Anyway, hindsight.
Hey, mate, hindsight is 2020, and the real question is, if you employ that strategy going forward,
the next cycle, it won't work.
It's not going to work because everyone, like maybe not everyone, but there's going to be a good proportion of people who employ that strategy, and by the very nature of everyone doing that, it's going to invalidate it in some way, shape, or form. And those people are not going to have the outcome that they hope.
And that's also discounting that a lot of people made mad gains in, like, say, Pepe, or maybe some of even Solana or whatever, that outperformed Bitcoin in that period. But it's just that it would have been hard to pick those, early. Like you could pick them when that was already done most of its run.
Can we talk about T-shares? Can we talk about T-shares?
Please do.
Go.
T-shares. Let's have a look. What is
just
the...
While you're pulling that up, can I just... Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Go for it, Matt.
I was just going to cut back.
Where do I get the T-share number from? The rate, the current rate. That's what I'll look that up.
Hex daily stats, or
is that still
Hex
going?
daily stats? The Ethereum numbers have been thrown out a little bit lately. I don't know if it's all back in order now, but there was a bit
Hex
going on
stats
there,
drop today.
or hexfire.io.
Hexfire.io. Yep.
Has it got it?
Yep. Yeah, that's got it. While you're doing that, yeah, I was just thinking about that, the liquidity stuff that we were talking about with Ethereum and all that. I reckon, you know, back with the Hex run up on the last bull run, there wasn't a way really to easily incentivize or make it, really big incentives for people to provide liquidity or change it from Ethereum to USDC and stuff like that with getting real rewards. But now that it's all in the, PulseChain ecosystem, if he was to put, make PulseX, V3, it could be so easily incentivized to swap things over or even just with the farms, just using the farms still with V2 and just start giving better, change the MasterChef contract to give better rewards to people to do whatever he wants, which would be, flip it to remove the Ethereum liquidity, put it in with USDC, and things like that. It could really
incentivize pools. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So as Ethereum tops out, you might disincentivize that Ethereum pools, like
definitely,
Pulse. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, he certainly could. I think my gut feeling is that the emission rate of ink is so high at the moment that people kind of they're underestimating just how juicy the farms are. So if the price of ink goes really, really high, then they'll have to drop the emission rate in terms of it just wouldn't make sense to have the same rate. But the MasterChef contract can do that. So, or I think if you just add more farms, then it's spread out. So that would probably work better because then that way it's the same amount of ink that's being emitted, but it's spread out over lots more farms and incentivize whatever the P-Link guys, the P-Pepe, the P whatever, P-Crow, some of these guys to come in and provide liquidity because those farms are going to, start to have some decent yield.
Definitely.
And that would make sense because I think if they kept it in some of the bigger farms, the more sort of stable farms, I guess, it's just too easy for the whales to just earn ridiculous sums of money. Once the price of ink goes up too high.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
That's my gut feeling as to what's going to happen.
I'm interested to see how it all plays out. It's going to be good fun to watch.
Don't know what that is. Carry network? Does anyone know? I can maybe check it out later, but
never heard of it.
Kids. Could be something weird. Cacklebeth Harris, that's harsh but funny. Tribalism curse, yes. Redhead, left-handed focus, I blame. Not too sure. You talking about Irish?
Yeah, I can't remember what we were talking about at that stage.
Just blaming Irish people for something. I mean, that's the classic thing, people just need a scapegoat. I should have checked these comments earlier, man. Sorry to, Maddie Allen, what's up?
Hey, Maddie.
Finbear's in the house.
I was going to ask Hex Enthusiast, where is it on that website, on the Hexfire website?
I'll bring it up. So you've got to go to charts.
Which one tells us the share rate?
The share rate. Where is it? Yeah, Hex share rate at the top right hand button.
You can pull it up here if you want.
Just takes a bit to load.
That's cool. I'll check out the chat. Yaveen.
It's about 35,000 for on Ethereum, and on Pulse, it's around that 35,000, just over 35,000 maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Ash has got an interesting point here. I know the bear market is hard, but from this cycle, it's changed forever because the stable coins being heavy in volume. So people were earning yield like stablecoin. Is that? I'm interested. I'd like to subscribe to your pamphlet.
This Hex share rate speculative estimate is estimating that by the end of this year, the share rate on PulseChain is going to be 40,000 hex per T share. It's currently 35,000. So in the matter of 5 months, it's going to go up another 5,000, which is an insane increase, like percentage-wise, for just 5 months. If that is actually the case, so there must be like a couple of big stakes coming out around the beginning of December, because I can see it spikes up, and I guess that's what they're taking into account when they've put this this chart together, is those big stakes that come out and then cause the share rate to jump. So yeah, share rate going from 35,000 to 40,000 in the next 5 months. That's insane, hey?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That is
good
insane.
stuff for stakers. Yeah.
So
that's crazy, man.
It actually is crazy. I mean, because I'm guessing. Can we just find out from the people in the chat? I assume by the very nature of this channel and who's on here and who's talking, that people in the chat are into Hex. If you're into Hex, can you like give us a thumbs up or just say yes, just a Y for yes if you guys are into Hex? Just type it in, just so that we can get an idea of who's a staker, a Hex staker. You don't have to stake everything. You just do you stake Hex, right? Is that something that you do? If yes,
is anyone here from Hexico? The comedians do that. They're always like, wherever town they're in.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever.
So we've got a few yeses coming through.
There we go.
That's what I expect. So you guys just have to be aware. The share rate is 35,000 now on PulseChain. It's probably going to close to 40,000 by the end of this year. That is quite a big increase. What is that percentage wise? That's over a 14% increase in the share, rate. A 14% increase in the matter of 5 months. So, it's I think it's a good idea to, if you feel like you're light on T shares, it's not a bad idea to grab a few, grab a few while the price is cheap, because the price is actually really, really cheap right now. We're talking 2020.
Yeah, it can get scary.
Yeah, man. I think,
and it was $10,000 in the last bull run in 2021. It hit $10,000 for a T share, and right now, what is it? 35,000. What's the price right now? 0.0054. About $190 for a T share.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's crazy.
Pretty crazy, huh? Pretty crazy.
Crazy talk, man. Absolute craziness. Look, I think everything's pretty much undervalued at the moment. So you can pretty much just scoop up anything and you're going to be getting a pretty good deal. There's a lot of bullish things sort of happening. I noticed there's this website, gopulsechain.com. So from presumably it's the GoPulse guys. And yeah, this is an awesome site. So it's got some tools and things like that, all these different resources, analytics, buy and sell, Coast, Pateus, different calculators, this impermanent loss calculator. I actually like the Pulse coin list impermanent loss calculator. I talked about that last week. I think that's really cool. I've sort of been helping them a little bit out with that. But yeah, I really like that one. But there's all sorts of stuff here, like in terms of tools, explorers, portfolio trackers, security, different wallets. It's just really clean. It's got that standard.
Maddie's saying in the chat there it's from Liquid Loans. So I think that's the one that they were going to build, and they were going to put a bit about the PulseChain influencers on there as well, and give them all a page each. And I
did really say cool. Presumably, because I didn't know for sure, but I was like, I just assume it's GoPulse, like gopulse.com, and then gopulsechain.com. It kind of, but it makes sense that they've done that. It's because we've already kind of got used to that. So the Pulse coin list, I think, is a good site. GoPulse is a good site, and now we've got this gopulsechain.com. And shout out to the Liquid Loans guys for doing this. It's pretty sweet. It's very, very clean. It makes it look like there's people building, and it's an active chain. And if it's going to have a lot of the streams and things and influencer pages, then that could be really cool as well. Also, I always forget to mention, but there's the pulsetube.com.
Yes,
these guys are amazing. That you can go here and get your streams. Oh, free Kareem! I forgot about that. That's actually quite sad. What's happened to poor Kareem? But hopefully that will get resolved. Anyway, I was just saying the Pulse Tube, but the Kareem thing. Just wanted to briefly touch on that. So I think Maddie was just saying, if there are people out there that are maybe large whales, whatever, and they wanted to contribute to his legal defense or whatever, because Kareem's in jail, I think. He had some bullets in his luggage accidentally. I don't know. It sounded pretty bad. But then looking into it briefly, it sounds like this happens quite a lot. And there was, I think someone had paid like $9,000 or something and got out of it. So hopefully it's just a fine, but still, pretty scary. And a lot of people sort of giving Maddie a hard time, whatever, sort of saying, trying to raise money, because Kareem is presumably quite rich.
Which is ridiculous, by the way. Like, what, you're going to knock someone for sticking, like, shouting out like it for his mate? Like, it's ridiculous.
For his mate.
Sort of.
That's my point. That is exactly my point. It's like,
your mate,
it's just he's your mate, right? So it's like, if either of you guys were got Chappelle Corbied or something, and you were in some Balinese jail, and it'd be like, oh shit, you'd be thinking, okay, well, let's raise some funds and get him out of there, because you don't know what's going to go on in some dodgy Balinese jail. It's just your mate. Like, you're just looking out for your mate. So, but of course, there's people out there that are also in dire straits and don't have much money. Then that's fine. Then don't contribute. Like, it's not for you, and that's okay as well. You don't have to have a negative opinion on it.
And I guess there's been. I guess it's a never-ending stream. Like, from people's perspective, in their phone, this is what we have to understand. People have their phone, and they're just getting like this over the last 2, 3, 4 years, just a barrage of someone who needs help, someone who needs help, someone who needs help, someone who needs help. And people's mentality is like, well, who the fuck's helping me? That's what the people's mentality. Their knee-jerk reaction. Their knee-jerk reaction is to be like, fuck everything. It's like, no, there's nuance in all this shit, right? There's like, this guy is actually in jail, and I hope that shit can go right for Kareem. Like, I've been on stream with him before, and he's a very intelligent guy. He's done a lot for the community, and I really truly hope that he can get out, without too much fuss. It's it's not a good thing.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I hope he gets out, and I hope he's okay, and I don't know if people can get the word to him that there are people out there that are concerned for him. But I guess the thing is, if people's knee-jerk reaction, like you say, is to say, well, hang on, no one's helping me, and I don't like giving money, well, that's okay. Like, just don't give money. Like, no one really wants you to anyway. He'll be fine. There'll be someone out there that can help him. It's just an awareness thing. It's a generic message that goes out to everyone. Hopefully it's a net that catches some people who can help,
Exactly. Yeah. It's all. They're also saying that you can loan the money as well. So there's not like a contract you're tied to, obviously, but they're saying that they will return if you want to put some money forward. You can email them and they will return it at a later date. Who knows when or anything like that.
I think you'll be fine. I wouldn't even be asking people to donate. I would just be saying, like, it's as long as the awareness is there, and then like his mates and stuff will know what's up. and then they can help him out, and I'm sure it'll get resolved. If it is just like literally like a 10 grand,
where is it again? Where is it?
Was it Turkey?
Turks and Caicos? No, I think no. I saw that, but no, it's Turks and Caicos. I didn't actually look it up.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
I think it's an island. Like I'm assuming. Oh, here we go. Turks and Caicos. Oh, it looks quite nice. That's probably harsh because he's like in a prison there. He's not in a resort there.
It's not a nice situation to be in, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's in like the West Indies, like Dominican Republic, Cuba, Bahamas. So yeah, it's an island, I guess, off like in the West Indies, like yeah, near Dominican Republic, Haiti. So they might have really strict gun laws or something there.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't know.
Can you imagine like, if you tried to come into Australia with a box of fucking ammo, bro?
Wow.
You're in fucking trouble.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not used to trouble.
People just carrying. I mean, maybe Americans just walk around with that, ammo all the time. But for us, that would be crazy to bring weapons or drugs to an airport. But maybe that's.
Did I ever tell the story of when I came back from Sicily once, and I'd been in the farms, like in Sicily, I've been doing stuff, and I came back, and my shoes were just like I had my shoes in a bag, they're just caked in dirt. And they asked me, "Have you been on any farm?" Like they ask you on the form, "Have you been on any farms?"
Yep. The agriculture. Yep.
Yeah, and I ticked yes, and they're like, "Well, what have you like? Have you got any clothing material?" And I said, "Yes, I've got these shoes." And I showed them the shoes in the bag, and they're like, "Just give them to us." I'm like, "Oh shit, I lost my shoes," and I had to wait. They come back 10 minutes later, my shoes looking fucking spick and span, beautifully clean. Like I'm going to do this shit every single time. These guys are going to clean my shoes.
That's it.
Polish my shoes coming back from overseas.
Yeah, no, I mean, Australian customs, like they care more about fruit and veg and dirt and all that sort of stuff than anything else. That they're hectic about it. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, maybe it's slightly different. If people do travel, maybe people can travel with bullets or something. The other thing I thought of, like I'm saying in the US, maybe I don't know if people can have like license carry, they can carry bullets on planes. It seems crazy that you would want to go in a pressurized vessel with live ammunition, but maybe, I don't know. But the other thing I was thinking is it could have been literally like a Chappelle Corby kind of situation, although maybe I shouldn't talk about that, but because there might be legal ramifications of that. But you never know what happens in dodgy airports because it kind of seems a bit suspicious that there was like half a dozen people that got done for the same crime. It could just be like an extortion thing where they're just sort of gone, "Oh, this guy's wearing like a Gucci jacket or something. Oh, look what we found in your briefcase. You're going to jail, in your suitcase." And then you have to bribe your way out of it. And then if he sort of says that they weren't his, then they just literally lock him up. And so then he's tried to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, they were mine, but I'll pay the fine." So you don't know the context is what I'm saying, is we have no idea what actually happened. And I have been in dodgy airports, I must admit, like one of them in Bali. I had these guys in uniform come over and they picked up my bag and they went, "Oh, customs." And I was like, "What? Am I getting Chappelle Corby here or what?" And then, so I just sort of followed the guy, and there was about 4 of them. They all tried to like carry my bags, and I was like, "I got it, it's fine." And then we got to the thing, and they were just taking me to customs. They were like porters.
Yeah, right.
And then they were, and I was like, oh, holy shit. Okay. Yeah, I didn't need you to carry my bag. But then they were like 100,000 rupiah or whatever it was. I was like, what? I'm not paying like anything because I didn't ask you to hold my bags. I thought you were like some official. You guys are all in uniform. I just sort of followed you. And then basically I'll just quickly finish this. So basically there was like 4 of them that hit me up for money. And I was just like, all right, I'll give this one guy 100,000, and they all wanted money. And then I basically had to say, fuck off.
Yeah.
But because luckily like the Balinese come to about here on me. They were like, this guy's getting pissed off now. Yeah. I was like, because it's like $10 or whatever. I was like, here's your $10. Now fuck off.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay.
There's a message, there's a comment here by Red Squirrel.
Okay.
You know what I think? I think that it's quite possible that he just is not in a situation or a position where he can just like freely go and do whatever you're suggesting he does here. He may not be in a situation like incarcerated that he can do that or has access to it in that way, or maybe he was able to do something but wasn't able to do more, or he's just not in a position to do it. So I think that that's a very real and possible scenario given the circumstances. I think we should cut him a bit of slack on that point, and just hope that his good mates can pull some stuff together and help him out.
Oh, I'm sure. Look, if it's a small amount of money, it'll be taken care of. They'll pay the fine. It'll be no big deal. If you would hope
that if it was you in that position, you would hope that people would be able to help you. People, your friends or whatever, would be able to help you in whatever way they could help you. You would hope that people just, we're going to have, guys, empathy is an important thing to have,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I, on that note, in, putting all of that aside and, the bad situation that's going on, bring it back to crypto, just say he can access the crypto, which, one of the stakes apparently got nuked. So let's just say he can. How sticky does this actually make crypto and Hex in itself seem? Because just say you're in that situation and you still don't want to nuke your stakes and you still don't want to sell your crypto.
Well,
it's like that is pretty sticky.
But if they caught you Syncos and it's less than 50% of the time served, he might just get nothing. Right?
Yeah. No, he'd probably still get something. You would get less than your principal.
Oh yeah, but the principal would be chopped. Yeah. Well, it depends on how far into it.
Awful time for it to happen. Just from like an awful time for it to happen.
Yeah, especially since
if there's some mates who can lend him something, that's probably the best situation. Some mates who can just lend him.
I don't think we need to go on about it too much, but I think Maddie's saying here his stakes are worth it until a couple of years. So that's the thing. But it does. From what you're saying, True Blue, this is actually a good reason maybe why you should be doing staking ladders, right? Because
that's sure.
Not to be callous, but if he had ladders all the way, then it wouldn't be an issue of it being like, oh, all my money is tied up for 15 years. So you can have some portion of your money locked up for that long, but maybe you should have smaller stakes so that if something does happen for emergencies, it's not all tied up.
Matty Allen is saying he would get 0 for his stakes right now, or I guess close to 0. I mean, the price being where it is. The price being where it is, because I know he wasn't there at the very, very start. He came in a bit later. So it's quite possible that this was, very close to buy-in price or less, But Red Squirrel makes a comment like if it was him, he wouldn't be public. His friends.
That's fair.
That's fair enough. I think it's bear in mind the situation. He might be in custody and he might have a limited amount of time on his phone, and maybe
for sure.
Easiest way to put it out there is to write a post on X and get it out there. That's going to get it will get back to his family, will get back to most people. I think we should just be like understanding of the situation, be a little bit empathetic that this could be something that if we were in that situation, we wouldn't know what to do, and that might be our only option.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And my comment, there was no disrespect meant there or anything. I was just like turning the view of it, the perspective to like the crypto side. And it's one of those things. It's like, your golden hands, you're holding it no matter what type thing. So it's
absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's an amazing thing with crypto. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, for sure, man. Look, there's been a couple of other things that I was going to talk about. The Mt. Gox has been doing a bit of a sell-off.
Shout out to Nick Eddy there in the chat.
Yeah, Nick Eddy, what's up? The
ATO private ruling king right there.
That's right. He's got some interesting things. I'm still wanting to see the whole private ruling. I don't think we actually saw that in the end, but we got the gist of it.
What do you mean? No, we did.
Did you see? No, did we see it in its entirety?
It's in the private ruling is on the ATO website.
That's right. Yeah. I think we did.
It's on there now. At the beginning, it wasn't on there. Now it is.
Okay.
But it's been redacted. Certain information's been redacted.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, maybe we can talk about that at some point. But yeah, I know with the private rulings, you have to be a little bit careful because you have to sort of that ruling was very specific to Nick's case. Yeah, but you could certainly use it as a precedent if you had to. But no, I was going to say about the fighter Dom Marfan, I think it is, the Street Buddha. Yeah, I think he's he got injured, so I think he's missed his next fight or something. So shout out to him. Hopefully he's in recovery, and he's a young fighter, so he's got plenty of time for that. Yeah, I was going to bring up
just while you do that, can I make one thing? Can I make one point before I leave? I'm going to duck out.
Yeah.
So before we're talking about T-shares, and I'll probably cop a bit of flack for this, but reality is reality, so I should at least mention it. 50 T-shares with a native stake right now, max length, so you're getting the maximum discount, is $3,150 US. That's 50 T-shares. You could get 50 T-shares via buying DESI, and that would actually come out in 8.5 years, which would be 1,957. And then 50 T-shares of Lucky, which is $2,747, which comes out in, I think, 5 years-ish. So interesting, right? It's interesting. But just remember, those liquidity pools for those two other tokens are quite thin. So if you go in and buy a whole chunk of stuff, you're going to push the price against yourself. It may not actually end up being that price, but based on the current prices, that's what it came out as. In reality, if you go trade on Pateus, it might, make the price of acquiring those tokens more than that for 50 T-shares. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I bid you guys a farewell, and see you later. To everyone in the chat, I love you all. We'll see you next week.
Catch you, man.
Awesome. Thanks, 43. Good to see you, bro. Have a good weekend. Cheers, mate. Yeah, so I was just going to race through a couple of articles that I saw, just to kind of wrap up the news that's been happening. So 41% of Mt. Gox Bitcoin has been distributed to creditors. I don't know about this. They've been continuing to hodl because the price has been getting wrecked. So maybe there's a little bit of bias in how that's being reported. But
we need some chain analysis on that.
Yeah, at least certainly the Mt. Gox trustees are getting paid. So that's good that they're getting their coins back.
It's cool.
Because that's been a long time coming.
Definitely. We need that all to be over and fully distributed. And it'll be good to know what happens from there.
Yeah. This was concerning. So since January 2020, the US debt has gone up 50% from 23 trillion to 35 trillion. Interest on the debt has also skyrocketed with higher rates, averaging 5%. The interest on the debt is on pace for 1.5 trillion next year, 30% of all government revenue collected. That's just the interest.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that is some scary numbers. Anyway, that sort of boggles the mind. Another thing that boggled my mind a little bit was Scottie Pippen released some sort of shitcoin during the week, and I don't know if it was just his intern or whatever, but he was likening himself to Satoshi. And I thought, come on, bro, that's maybe a little bit too far there. So I think he's already rug pulled. So this is Scottie Pippen saying, this guy said, what the fuck, bro, dumped 330 grand straight into the dev wallet in one transaction, didn't even bother the rug.
Wow.
So Scottie Pippen, you've got some explaining to do. I don't know why these
Definitely.
like the hubris of these celebrities that think they can just go, oh, I'm going to get into crypto. I'll just make my own coin and then just sort of rug it and then pretend like it didn't happen, or like they've just leveraged all their reputation.
Exactly.
Gone out the window.
Yeah, totally, wreck their reputation if anyone in crypto, is a big fan of them or whatever. And I guess it might be at that stage still where most people won't know about it. So they think they can get away with it at the moment. But yeah, it's definitely poor form. And you'd think they get a, reasonable income at the moment anyway. So yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, like anyway, there was another one that was even worse. I think it might have been this one. Has he edited it? Or maybe not. Anyway, it says there was Satoshi Nakamoto and then there is Scottie Pippen. This is me going, nah, bro. No.
Wow. Goodness.
You can't really put yourself on a pedestal on the podium next to Satoshi because you've launched a shitcoin.
Hopefully he's having a good joke or something,
Nah, they're serious, man. Like there was like a video and they had like an AI Satoshi and Pippin, and I was just going,
oh my goodness,
what the fuck is going on? Why do they think that we would think this is legit? So
they don't realize how deep people are in crypto. It's like they come in and they think they know everything, and it's like, yo,
exactly.
you got no idea, bro. Like honestly, yeah.
They just think, oh yeah. And it didn't even make sense what he was saying, because it was like he's got a basketball from game 5 or whatever, and then I don't know, presumably there's like 1 billion tokens, and then you own like 1 billionth of this basketball. But how much could the basketball possibly be worth anyway?
Yeah.
And then how does everyone cash in their part of the real world asset, like the basketball?
Yeah.
Does everyone just get like 5-minute like hoop time with it? It's just so ridiculous. I was just thinking, okay, have we jumped the shark or what?
Would have been better off just bringing out an NFT about him or different basketballs or something weird. Yeah. I was just checking to see if anyone wanted to come on in my DMs, but no, there was no one. That's cool. I'll just quickly, I thought this was bullish. I mean, so the part of a disclaimer here is that, what we do as people who stream is that, you don't want to just fudge your bags all the time and say, oh, this looks bearish, but then you don't want to be disingenuous and kind of be saying that everything is bullish when it's not, right? So we try and just be given an honest take. That's what we've always tried to do. But it is nice when you see some bullish stuff, because it's like everyone just likes to see it. So whether or not some of this stuff is legit or not, up to you, but I'm just presenting just the facts, ma'am. So we've got, this is Raoul Paul, I think it's Raoul Paul, but whatever. So he's talking about macro summer beginning to take hold, and should last at least for the rest of 2024 and into 2025. So he's got a bunch of things here. So these different indexes, and he's just basically pointing, support, and just sort of saying that everything is looking bullish in terms of the S&P. I mean, the S&P 500, has been going crazy. So, and then this is it with respect to previous presidential election years. Okay.
So he's kind of put that fractal over it and sort of done a extrapolation of how it could go in another election year.
Okay.
So it's like, ooh, bullish.
Nice.
And then Bitcoin Zone looking ready to break the giant cup and handle. So he's saying that because of these recent tops that we had, and then the sort of correction, and then now it's just forming a giant cup and handle. So why not? Gold should see its next leg higher. This is gold apparently. So this is like a bull flag. And I guess if gold goes up and other scarcity sort of store of value assets, then maybe Bitcoin would keep going up.
For sure.
Inflation is slowing down in the US, and obviously the rates are looking to get cut in September.
Yeah.
I think that,
I've heard that,
the probability is like 95% that it's going to happen in September. And then he's talking about the Dixie, the strength of the US dollar, and how that's starting to sort of wane, like a weaker dollar, which is good for crypto. So there was a lot of, bullish things. This guy's got an inverse head and shoulders going on here. Maybe people just look for positive patterns. There's like a positive bias maybe, but it certainly seems like there's a lot of potential going on, at least with Bitcoin, and you would hope, but Ethereum as well. And then I guess by proxy, if we've got that liquidity bonding with Ethereum, the SAC wallets have got lots of Ethereum, then we might see some flow-on effects. But in a lower liquidity market, like on PulseChain, we can far outweigh the gains. We can have a sort of slingshot effect.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
That's the idea.
Yeah, definitely. I think all the cards are starting to fall the right way. It's been talked about for a good couple of years now, and we're getting to that point. The last cycle going into the bear market, and it has to happen sometime soon, surely. Within the next, sometime by early next year, we should be seeing, some decent movement. Otherwise, who knows what is going to happen? But all the indicators are good. So, I'm bullish.
Look, I'm thinking November this year is where I'm kind of putting my eggs in that basket, sort of thinking based on that 3-year, fractal of previous all-time high, breaking that all-time high. That's the most bullish one. And I've said that many, many, many times. So, and when it started to go up a bit earlier, everyone talking about left translated, didn't really play out. So maybe old Dozzy Wozzy was onto something there.
That's it.
But we shall see.
Check out George Drops' comment. Bring
George
that one up.
Let me just have a quick look. Inverted head and shoulders did nothing for my dandruff. That's good. Especially since George Chops is a dog, so he's got quite a lot of hair. That would be
that's right. Yeah,
a lot of dandruff. Just have patience. We were all-time high soon for sure. I haven't forgotten about you, Disclosure Crypto, with your Gary Network thing. I'm happy to check that out. I think we should do the shitcoin section, or meme coin section, maybe I should say, before we wrap it up. But yes, 43 OG has said, smash the like, please, people.
Yes.
So I always forget to say that. If you can like and comment, snide remarks, anything really, I think is always
give us crap. Tell us how silly we are, or how much you agree with us. Yeah, everything's good.
Yep. Just don't go too harsh. It might hurt my feelings.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Let me just randomly choose something from this. What is this? Okay, let's just choose this thing just to break it up for the meme coin section.
Yeah.
I twerk. I love it's fun. I don't know that many moves. I got one good one.
I'm on poles making LPs just to print a check. Got a bag of pulls die just to make a flex. Rich then with Spark Swap, cause that shit up next. Got my gang phone, you can call me through the chain. Call me through the chain. You wanna reach me, call me on the chain. Call me on the chain. I got a drop on daddy.
All right. So yeah, the twerking was too soon. I couldn't handle it, man.
Oh gosh.
But no, look, I just wanted to break up the segment. So we're going to look at some meme coins. So stick them in the chat if you want me to chart them. We'll just do it really, really fast. Oh, this is funny. You just smashed my heart by saying shit coins for real. Yeah, no. We're not talking about shit coins. We're talking about meme coins, but they're kind of synonymous, I would have to say. But it's all relative, right? Because Bitcoiners think that everything is a shitcoin, or that is shitcoins. That's not Bitcoin.
Yep. That's right.
Whereas, we're sort of going, oh no, you've got these core PulseChain core coins, which are super legit, and then everything else is dodgy.
Yeah,
but
blue chips.
Yeah, these are the blue chips. Whereas some people might just consider this to be super high risk as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a risk spectrum, right? Like, so distribute your capital accordingly.
Yeah, and I've got to say before we get too far into it, you've been pretty on the money with all the watching those moving averages, because just seeing it play out, HOA, man, is just down hard.
Look,
down real hard. So what's going on with the Tangang?
Like, look, I didn't want to. I was quite respectful, I think, when I was saying, well, I was talking smack about people's charts. Basically, this is basically what this segment is. It's just me talking smack about charts, and I was fairly respectful. I sort of thought, like, if you look at these moving averages, so this is HOA, and I like HOA. Don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome.
Yep.
But you can just see where it crossed over the 20 MA on the dailies, and then it just went on this relentless uptrend, and it never closed below it until here. And then once they swapped over, the 10-day moving was below the 20, and then the price was below. There's a massive downtrend. And so we basically called it when it broke below, like here. And I was like, ooh, that's not good. And then I said, well, if it depends on whether or not it breaks below this support, and it kind of hovered around it, and then it broke it. And I was like, oh, I don't know, this is not looking good. And then because the price was above both, and then it tried to break above it here. So whether you would wait that out, or whether if you were trading like on the daily scale, like you would buy back in and then literally sell the next day. And then from then onwards, it's done, so when it broke the 20 MA for the second time, it's down 73%.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, if people say that trading is bad news, but you can see it getting rejected off that 20 MA as well.
Exactly.
Holy smokes. So anyway, look, this could literally be the bottom. So don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying, oh, don't buy HOA, because maybe now's the best time to buy HOA.
Exactly. Yep.
But because moving averages are like a lagging indicator, I won't know until this breaks back above this 20 MA, you know what I mean? And starts making higher lows. So I'll be late to the party. But with my method, at least, you don't get fooled into thinking that this is the recovery, and then it goes down another. If you think that this is, you go, oh, we're back, we're so back, and then it doesn't break above it, you could have lost another 62%.
Yeah.
And look, I know that I'll probably get hate as well, because technically the Tangang are all about liquidity providing and everything. So it's not just, trading and selling, but rather than doing the righty by the community. So maybe, but then I kind of think, look, and I think Cookies or whoever would have to agree that the market's going to do what the market's going to do. So you have to be able to absorb that as well. You can't say that this is how the market has to behave, because you can't control that. So that's a fair criticism as well. But I do understand, in terms of a community thing, maybe people should have been providing liquidity instead of just dumping the chart.
That's true.
So yeah, let's have a look at. So what was that one that guy was saying? Was it Gary Network? That sounds like a scam.
It does,
right. But I'm checking it out. So if I just type into Dex Green or Gary, is this even on PulseChain, or is this just a joke? I'm just like, he's taking the piss out of me, I think.
Yeah, it says, I think it's gaming or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I can see a lot of ads saying, like, win 50,000 Gary tokens, play to win.
Right. It sounds scammy but it may not be. So I won't say that it's a scam, but it does sound scammy.
All right.
So if it's legit, put the contract address in the chat.
Yeah. So supposedly it's on Kraken, Crypto.com, OKX, KuCoin.
They're all exchanges though.
Yeah. So Gary.network, it says world's largest Web3 audio and video live streaming platform. Looks like it's a cross between Instagram and YouTube type thing.
Could be legit. But anyway. Let me put it into Dex Trading View, because if it's if it's on these exchanges like OKX, okay, there it is. Gary USD. USDT. I don't know what the liquidity is like. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, this is not looking good, bro. Okay, yeah. Look, to be fair to the process, it's on the weekly below the 20-week moving average, and like the prices below the 10 and the 20, they're all inverted, and it looks like a downtrend. I don't see any kinds of recovery so far.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not pretty, bro. All right. Oh, okay. Well, here's one thing I can say about it. From a TA point of view, there should be support here. So this is a weekly close, and it looked like it wicked down to it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It
sure
wicked to that support and just literally bounced off it. And now it's looking like it's about to retest it. If it breaks below this line, it's basically like 00975. If it closes the week below that, I would sell that shit if I hadn't already, based on the downtrend of this chart.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
That was that one.
Your coins in the chat if you want me to say possibly nice or possibly bad things about them.
Yeah. A few people asking about Trump coin.
Oh, okay.
Matic chart. Do it.
Let's do this. So I had quite a few. Oh, would it be? I might have put it in one of the watch lists, or maybe not. So Matty wrapped Pulse. Is there literally only 1.3 grand worth of liquidity?
Yes.
In these pools?
Yep.
So, okay. That's not great.
Been thinned out. Yep.
But this is, because he took the liquidity and then he put it into the farms. Yeah, he's got some game theory thing going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just look at it in terms of the oldest chart has got 9 months. So let's just look at this. Oh, man. Yeah, okay. There's not a lot to say about this. This is basically just down and to the right. Why would you want me to chart this, Matty? I'm just going to say bad things about it.
Can you put it on log? Sorry.
Let's put it on log.
It's always fun.
That's the cope. The log cope. Look, you put it on log, it's not so bad. Look, I guess. Okay.
If you bought it at the bottom, you're a little bit up.
Yeah. If you didn't buy it up here, if you bought it down here, you'd be looking okay. So let's just look at the resistance support. So there's support there at, it's basically like $1. So 98 cents. Oh, yeah. Okay. And look, it made a higher low. And it is, if this makes another one, then that's a higher low as well, right? So short term, like in terms of days, I guess you could argue that it's coming out of that.
Yeah, I think it's only fair to really chart it from there where you have, because it only really started about there when he actually sort of tried to resurrect it, because in the beginning, that was when there was Funding Jim made the token.
Oh, you're right.
If you remember. So this is an actual, it wouldn't be fair to chart it from the beginning and look at it as if it's only down and to the right.
Yeah. Looks like sometimes I've had a couple of scotches here, or just a scotch, so I'm a bit callous with my my TA calls. But yeah, look, it probably, if you look at it just from a last couple of weeks point of view, because I think once he pulled the liquidity and put it in the farms, that's when there was a bit of outrage and this sort of stuff. But that probably would have been a good time to actually buy, right? Like after that massive jump.
Yeah, Maddie, you should put in the chat what date it was that you actually started, talking about it again, because it was probably about then when you
actually
charting it there.
Yeah,
it was about June-ish. Yeah,
but look, on the daily, it's broken below the 20-day there as well, so it's about to close below it. So that's maybe short-term bearish.
Okay, yeah.
But that's like lunch money stuff, because it's so low liquidity.
Yeah.
So there's only like $500, $680 of pulse in that one. So that's fair enough. For laughing, you keep saying shit coins 3 times. Yeah, man. That's sorry about that. Oh, he likes it though. That's okay. That's cool. Good to see you here, Disclosure Crypto.
Yeah.
The Trump on PulseChain. Ooh, I believe we had this in a watch list because someone talked about it last time. Maybe I should just be faster just to put it in Trump here. So there's the one on Ethereum. I actually wouldn't mind looking at that as well. But where's this PulseChain one? Why does Dex Screener do this? Sometimes it just gatekeeps.
It's really hard. Sometimes, you're looking for something and gatekept for sure. You just can't get it up there. It's so weird. I find that with the
here it is.
And Ethereum sometimes. So I had to put it in a watch list.
Yeah, I put it in a watch list so I could find it. Okay, so we talked about this line of resistance that was created by this sort of classic candle sort of shape that we've talked about, and it was definitely in a downtrend because it was making like lower highs, lower lows, and then it looks like it's wicked up and touched that resistance there, and now it's kind of just going sideways. So assuming that we put these on, okay, the colors are slightly different, but it's below the 20 MA on the daily, so short-term bearish. It sort of looks like it's going sideways. I wonder if you put that in terms of pulse, what it would look like. Okay, so it's kind of retaining its value against pulse. Because it doesn't look like amazing or anything like that. I would kind of want to see it touch or break through this resistance and then retest it. If I was going to be, I'd be looking for that trade. Trump on PulseChain OG, yep. Shill. Fair enough. Garcia would say Matty Trump as well. Okay, fair enough. We've just done that. They're saying FTX rugged them. Oh, okay. Maybe that's that Gary token thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't know. Titanx forever down chart is about see its biggest inflation event that can ever happen. Big red candles. Ooh, Base Radiant knows what's up. Apparently there's some sort of Titanx biggest inflation event that can ever happen coming.
Right.
Big red candle. Possibly all-time low tomorrow or all-time. Okay.
So is that miners ending or something? Long-term miners or something?
Yeah, I just remember it was that Jake Sharp guy. And you could stake it and you could earn Ethereum or Ether. Titanx, it could be this one here, $1.2 million worth of liquidity. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where if you're, I mean, Hex does this, so I shouldn't talk too much smack, but if you're earning yield in a coin, like, so if, like, I remember when the BBC farms and everything came out, and they had the really high yield, and you get like BBC and whatever it was, maybe Paul Pleb or 9-inch probably, and then it's like, yeah, you're earning all this APR, but if the coins are going down in price by so much that you're actually losing money, then there's no point to do it. And I guess you could make that argument about a bunch of altcoins, maybe I should say. But certainly TitanX had that thing where it was like, yeah, you could stake it and you could earn, I think you could earn ETH, but I think there was another thing where you could mine the TitanX. But if the price of TitanX is going down so much, then you're not making money. And it's the same with Zen, right? Remember that whole thing where it was like, yeah, it's free to mint and yeah. But if the price just keeps going down, by the time your mint ends, it's worth literally like less than you paid for it. Then how is that a good thing? So this is what happens. But Base Radiant, I think, is saying that there's some sort of inflation event that happens very shortly. So even though this has kind of got the down forever look, it might get even slightly worse in the next day or two.
If you're getting a massive load of them, it might be worth dumping them. You never know, even though the price is. But that's
the problem is. The problem is with these communities, everyone knows that this is the date. I didn't know, but whoever it is would know that this is the date that the inflation comes out. So then maybe it's priced in, right? So maybe it doesn't dump. So then you don't know, you think, oh, I'll wait for it to dump. And then maybe the whales will just play some whale games and just pump the price just to shit you.
That's right.
That's why it's hard when you're talking, emotional reasons why coins should or shouldn't go up. Like, oh, based on the trial or based on this event that's coming up, you don't know. You really don't know. And it's the market makers, the whales, that really dictate how it's going to play out.
Unless you're a market maker.
Unless you're a market maker, well, then you probably don't have as many problems. But it just means that you're always playing catch up because you're sort of going, because it's very dynamic and you're going, oh, hang on. Now the market's changed slightly. Wait, what's happening now?
That's right.
Everything was going down really, really hard, like Bitcoin and stuff. And then Trump just didn't get assassinated, like literally just turned his head slightly. And then it just went crazy. So, and then now it looks like it's going down a bit. But so I guess what I'm saying is the trade, and like I've always said, you can only say if something's either good or bad with respect to a given time frame. And those time frames change, then that the context of what you're saying changes.
Definitely.
So, but at the moment, TitanX, I guess if you just ignore that whole left-hand side, it's pretty much just being sideways, right? But not a lot to see there. So I'm sure there's no resistance and support. It's sort of looking like it's going in this band. Oh, just while I quickly remember, so Pulse Wrapped ETH has been in this sideways channel. So this is, remember we were talking about, this is the low impermanent loss. So if you were in the Pulse Wrapped ETH farms, and I was sort of saying, oh, it looked like it was breaking out, but then it just came back down. So this ratio is just tight.
It is.
So and then you can use the ink that you get from that and put it into like an ink pulse farm. So ink pulse, if I price ink in terms of pulse, that was going relatively sideways as well. Although that looks like I was going to say maybe it might be trying to break out, but
still we're going to get above that.
No, it's still there. It didn't really retest it. So it's still in. So even if you put your ink from that Wrapped ETH Wrapped Pulse farm and you put it into a ink Wrapped Pulse farm and you compounded it to get more ink, then your impermanent loss is going to be fairly negligible. So that's really interesting. In terms of these shit coins, because I talked about meme coins, that makes me think of a funny thing just real quickly. There was all right. So there was a thing where they were talking about this. Actually, I won't talk about it because it's going off topic and we're into the charts. It would have been good earlier, but I'll maybe tell you after.
All right.
So HOA, but in terms of the Tangang coins, so I think OMG still looks okay, although it's below the 20 on the daily. God damn. So I was hoping that this one, because of the Trump factor, would actually be doing okay, but sort of just going sideways. Dick with butt. Oh, what did I just close there? Dick with butt still in a downtrend. And I think that Pika coin, I saw last night that it got a little bit hammered. So I don't know what happened. I have to ask Somi what is up. Because, you know, Somi's got this, he's just a fan of Pikachu or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was a big red candle event.
Yeah, okay.
That happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Big capitulation. So,
all right.
But it looks like the people bought that right up. So that's interesting. But I guess maybe when it didn't respect that support, it closed below it, someone just rage quit. So that's interesting. What happens with these things is just a real quick one, is when you see a big impulsive move like this, and then it sort of comes up or whatever. Oh, this is the worst tool for doing this, but maybe a highlighter. What they tend to do is, oh, this is even worse, is they do like a bit of a damp sinusoid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you can kind of see that, this sort of thing tends to happen. So you see it over like on moves up as well. So say you see like this, just like squiggle TA. This is classic tangent used to do this. But say you have like a big move up like this. A lot of times you see like a little bit of a like that. So you get that little correction, and that's people have these bull flags. But it's very natural, like with large impulses, to get like a ringing.
Yeah.
So yeah, something will come down, and then it will sort of slowly go like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you can kind of generally, you can catch that dead cat bounce if you were like trying to panic sell.
Yeah.
And you don't normally have to, because they normally just sort of even out.
Yeah.
Anyway, squiggle TA aside.
It's good stuff.
Was there any other ones in the chat?
PTGC.
Let's just whip it out quickly. I've been getting into some aliens documentary stuff lately, so
yeah.
The Greys, here we go.
We went to, when we had that PulseChain meetup, we had UFO himself there, remember? So
yeah, true.
I think he's into all of them.
The liquidity on this is not huge, 370 grand, but it's not insignificant. And it looks like it's kind of forming a bit of a rounded bottom there, isn't it? Look, if it can make a higher low, you'd argue that it might have bottomed. You know, so this is obviously the support, and it's closed above. Well, it's been above the 20-day MA for some time now, and they're in the right order. That actually doesn't look too bad. If that can form a little, higher low, actually doesn't look too bad. Cool.
Very good. Upper right compared to a lot of the others.
Yeah. That's it. Last one I think we got here is, actually it doesn't have to be the last one, but we should probably wrap it up. What is it? Charizard? I've never heard of that, but I think it's a Pokemon thing. Now, has this only got $386 worth of liquidity? Oh no, here we go. On 9mm, it's got 3.8K. Okay. I wonder if this is a legit Tangang one, or you know what I mean? Like, put it in the chat if you know if it's like a proper, endorsed by Tangang or not. Yeah. I guess it doesn't really matter because it's going down. But yeah, look, if it can do that higher low, maybe like 3.8K of liquidity. I don't really mess around with stuff that's got that low. But okay, he's saying it's not. So
Further
got to
up,
be a
he said-
little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, the mob, is that this guy's talking about the mob, or is this a different guy? PulseChain Hex Crypto saying the mob Italian Mafia. Okay. And then Mr. Crypto, he was the one that was saying Charizard. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's
saying to put it on a
shorter
time frame.
Shorter time frame. Okay. So what, like 4 hour or something?
He said it has amazing structure.
Yeah, I can see it. It's making higher lows on the 4 hour. So that's a very short term trade with small amounts of money. Yeah. I could see, I mean, you can obviously see that, right? Like it's got this sort of.
Yep, definitely.
I mean, it's almost going like a parabola. But yeah, I don't really need to actually get the tool out, but you can kind of see the trajectory of that. So
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Low liquidity again, I have to say. Got to be a little bit careful.
Yep. They're asking for PTGC in against Pulse, priced in Pulse, apparently.
Oh, okay. Fair
looking chart. Let's check it out.
I'll just quickly look at this. The mob.
Oh yeah, yep.
This doesn't have, wait, what? $17 worth of liquidity. I don't know, bro. Looks awfully scammy. I don't see enough liquidity there.
You know, the mafia.
Yeah, is this guy trying to like mafia, trying to scam someone? No, look, $17. I'm not even going to pull it up. So what was the Grays one or whatever? It's PTGC. Is that right? TGC?
Put a P in front. PTGC.
Oh, okay. Is it? I thought it was this one here. Oh, maybe not.
No. Put P in front.
PTCG. Man, that tick is hard. Too hard.
GC.
Gray's currency. Dyslexic much.
We got it.
But why is it a P? Okay. It's too many scotches. But are they saying that this is like the Gray's currency was on Ethereum and it got forked? That's why it's a P token? Or do they just put the P version on there? I guess it doesn't really matter.
I have no idea.
Yeah, not a big deal. Let's put it on Pulse, like they said. Yeah, like on the 4 hour, there's not like a lot going on, but I guess on the daily, it's a pretty ugly chart against Pulse because it's making like higher highs and higher lows, and then it starts making like lower lows and lower highs. There's not a strong trend there. I'm sure it's in a short-term uptrend against Pulse, but you know, I guess if you put in some sort of, you know, resistance or whatever here, it looks like it just wicked to that as well. So yeah, I'll be waiting to see.
Zoom out and put it on the weekly or 3 day.
Geez, they're very particular.
Today. I know they're getting right on.
No, like that. Not like that. Like this. But look at this. Like on the day, like that's fair. Like against Pulse, and then I found like a level of resistance, and it wicked to it, and then now it's going down. Right. So I want to see it break above that. Like that's
definitely,
and then retest it. So what is that? 0.69 Pulse per PTGC. But yeah, on a weekly, everything kind of looks good when it started low, and you can kind of do that. I mean, even the Tangang stuff, like, you know, if you go back to HOA or whatever, and you put it on log and you go on the weeklies, it's like, oh look, this thing is up and to the right only. But yeah, you got to be like the context matters. Like in the last however long, like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like if I go, let's just do it real quick. If I go HOA,
this one looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks terrible on a. This is log actually. Okay, it looks terrible. Log just gives it the M. Yeah. But if you go weekly and then you put it in Pulse, Oh, why is it not staying on weekly? Yeah, you're like, oh, technically it's, making higher. Is it though? Because no, that's lower. Like it's just putting lipstick on a pig is basically when you do that. If you go back to like dollars and then you sort of say, look, it's been in a downtrend since June. I think that's probably a fairer thing to say rather than, I know we've always done that whole stick it on log thing and and it is a fair call, but it doesn't help the person who bought it here, in the last 2-3 months.
Yeah,
to say
definitely.
that it's been performing really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you bought it on day one, it did, but anyone that's bought in the last 3 months is getting wrecked. So why would I say it's doing well? I mean, but yeah, that same thing applies to Pulse. So I'm not singling out these guys.
I'd be interested to see HOA versus Teddy Bear just to just all that's been going on. But yeah,
I was gonna say, bro, like it's not like I'm just talking smack about a particular set of coins because I think they're all pretty much.
Yeah.
Why can't I not find? Oh, PRC20s. Okay. Oh man.
And if they've just recently come out and done a good run, it doesn't take long for them to start coming back down, it seems. So
yeah, I don't know why, but for some reason I can't find that teddy bear. Oh, here it is. So this is teddy bear on the 4 hour. And that's been just going down as well.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wrecked. So, you can't really, you can't have like some people like they try to stand on a soapbox, your chart's going down, and they're like, your chart's going down. No, yours, and then it's like it's just the lesser degrees of poor performance. So yeah, none of this is really looking terribly good. But yeah, PLS will lift all tides. That is a fair call. And I think PLS is actually not looking that bad. I think maybe the meme coins kind of, they're lower liquidity, and then they outperformed. They had sort of this meme coin sort of pump, I guess, like a bubble.
Yeah.
And then, some people say, oh, they're rotating back into the core coins, but it's just that meme coins, they don't tend to have a sustained momentum over long periods of time. Meme coins are almost by definition like short-term trades. Like it is what it is. Like that's like the difference. Yeah. Otherwise, you could say everything's a meme coin. Bitcoin's a meme. Yeah, sure. The store of value is a meme. All this sort of stuff. But to distinguish between some of these lower liquidity meme coins is actually that you can trade them on the short-term time frame and make dollars. But you're probably not like long-term holding a lot of them. But yeah, in terms of Pulse, I think, Pulse is equally wrecked, but hopefully it's making, higher lows here. And that we did bottom at that 40369. Yeah. If it breaks down below that, then we're fucked.
Yeah. Let's not get down there by next week and have to replay. Yeah.
That's right. Then I'll just be like, it's not that bad. It's bullish.
Yeah. Good opportunity. Yeah, no. We'll see. Just take it easy and don't put all your eggs in one basket, I think.
I might have to check these ones out next time. Remind me, DBZen, if you do get a chance. So DRT from DGen Roundtable, okay. And PGIF and that. We can check them out next time.
Yeah,
but,
we looked at that one last week, but it had no liquidity and we couldn't get the right pair. So I think that's suggesting, that's all cool.
No dramas, mate. Well, yeah. Have you got any last words or anything you wanted to say before we wrap it up?
Oh, I think just, hold on tight and try and keep a level head. And if anything, this thing that's happened with Kareem sort of just shows that it's good to have something aside, easily accessible. That's what I reckon. Don't stake out to 5.5 and with your whole bag, Otherwise, staking's good. I really think so. But always good to have something liquid in case of emergencies. And otherwise, it's great that the community's stepping out to help him. So,
yeah. And awesome community, and good to see you again, True Blue, and 43. Thanks for coming on, and thanks to the chat. We've had heaps of support in the chat, so I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the comments and everything like that. So yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys, and yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good.
Rock on.
Cheers,
thanks,
man.
chat. Thank you.